do you have a gorgeous day here?
Oh, yes.
How wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's come together. Right, and inhale. Om Namo Gurudevaya Namo. Om Namo Gurudevaya. Om Namo Gurudevaya Namo. Adgare,
Adgare name,
Jugadgare,
Jugadgare name,
Sagare,
Sadgare name, Sirigurudeve name,
Angare,
Adgare name,
Jugadgare,
Jugadgare name,
Sagare,
Sadgare,
Siriguru,
Sirigurudeve name, Adgare name, Gure name, Sadgare name, Sirigurudeve name.
Hard breath. Continue. Okay, so today this is from Baba Siri Chand. I'm kind of surprised by this, but here we go. Okay, so now for this, Baba Siri Chand says, today is for your ancestors. How about that? Now, be sure to know I'm not asking you about grandma said blah, blah, blah. And not necessarily. In other words, this will not be for everyday self. You won't be just talking about about the people that you think you know about things, but and this may be about from Baba Siri Chand, okay? And to feel and know how this is going. Oh, so um, so Sahaj, do you know what I told you?
She just got here. Maybe Agiopal can rephrase it because I would use a refresher too since I was texting with Sahaj.
Oh, okay. So Sahaj, first of all, be tuned in. Everybody continue with heart breath. Okay. So with heart breath, this is from Baba Siri Chand. And today is, how can I say that? The answer is for ancestors. Okay, so be sure to know this is not about your memory or what you have thought before. Do you understand that? Okay. This is simply from your ancestors, which may or may not tell you. And it could be, for instance, for your parents, those parents, or it might be for decades, and it might be thousands of other people. Do you understand? It's a long time. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Gian, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, good, because I had, and Honey Munder, are you here? Honey Munder?
I see her.
She's muted.
Mm. Okay, can you unmute yourself? Ankia Paul, have you talked from you? Hello?
You want me to talk?
No, I
Could
just
we
want to know, I just want to know that you're here.
I'm here.
Okay. Honey
Yeah,
Munder?
yeah, I'm here. I just
Oh, good.
can't.
Okay, good. Okay, so continue with heart breath and stay with Baba Siri Chand about your ancestors. Okay, you got it? Okay, so continue for 3 minutes for meditation and begin. And inhale. Exhale. And continue. Okay. Guru Das Prem, can you talk about that?
Satnam. Yeah, wow, huh?
Yes.
So I mean, for myself, I mean, and Baba Siri Chand, the word is sort of it's all encompassing that of sometimes. So for me, what I've been lately meaning from the last meeting that we had, we were speaking of, energy and mentioning certain ways for myself personally, how it moves and, how certain things are feelers in their way of how the hummingbird, I think I may have mentioned the hummingbird, how I've noticed that it's fearless, that it'll be on the top of the tree and other birds can come and shake the tree and it'll just sort of keep its way because for some reason it's designed perfectly through its lineage, through its ancestry or its making or however that is, and through that to correlate with the humans and our ways, like just looking at everything here, it's almost like that empty box or something, that thought that appears to the side that seems to have nothing but can somehow have a way of pulling our sense or what have you, our thought away towards um, that way of thinking. I think is that blankness, and with that ancestral line, we have to notice the water, the dirt, everything that's there, right? That's in between, because this is what really makes up everything that what we're made of, right? And everything that's outside of this bubble that we're riding on, that we have this ability to be with, that we're still all the same materials, right? They're just moving around in different areas through that open space. And what Baba is showing me through the alchemy and the way the energy travels and how we move through that, and then we come into this space where allowed certain expressions of our creativity through our voice and our vibration and our light and our colors. And we even have number, we have, if you want to believe all of that, right? So that's coming to that forgetting of that ancestral, the lineage of how maybe we were brought up, and all of the stories that were here for us, through all of the knowledge that was um, written down or given through the ages. And then there is ancestral knowledge that we have inherently through the elements that comes to allow us, when we work inside of ourselves. And the simplest way to do that is by noticing the breath and noticing our stillness, how we can become still when we sleep, and using that example of how our dreams can seem so real at times, but they're just a reflection of our walking through this life, right? Of how we create what we want through our ideas and through our fantasies of our way of moving and traveling through all of this, that we're related to everything that's here ancestrally, through the water, through the dirt, and then through all of us, millions of human beings, billions of human beings who have the marking, within the science that we know now, because we can look at that and notice on our DNA that there is a certain age of that combines, here with us, to be able to sit with that energy, of that ancestral. And when we do certain celebrations, we'll imagine, there's a cloud above us and it's spinning around, and it maybe has all this open, you can imagine a tornado and the still spot in the middle. And then there's, everybody who ever was that's no longer here looking down on you. If you can imagine and use your imagination that comes through that, and, knowing that that once again cycle of life through that diorama, or however we see that cycle of life coming through all beings, and the creation of, the mountains and the earth and how materials move and whatnot is also in our ancestral thing. But yeah, and then I'm just returned to backing that of being able to pick ourselves up, and to focus on that softening of that discomfort, that dis-ease that we feel inside of our body. That some of that can be ancestral, but also it can be something that we brought in with us when we were learning that, to move a certain way, yeah. And then within this practice, there are certain things that we can just, I'm just brought to Kirtan Kriya because I think it's one of the easy things to do. And Sata Nama, right? It's just an extension of Sat Nam, which is truth is my identity. And we're noticing, right, the other things that are there too: the sun, the moon, the birth, the death, the knowledge, wisdom, vitality, communication, which as a human being, we have that inherent ability to absorb that information, to absorb these vibrations that come through, that allows these energy waves to move through us in a thought, in a way that I can be having a conversation with a person of, if I reach out to something and say, I'm going to randomly search for this information, and then find out that the person that's, next to me has the answer, or they know this person that I knew, that I somehow randomly noticed that, through the reflection in the owl's eye. After last week, I was just so taken by the nature of all of these moving entities, that some we can see, some we can't see, through the expression of the dragonfly coming out of the water, and that creation of that, that life cycle. And I was just brought to this place in the woods, and there was this owl, and it was just amazing because she had all these crows jumping around her, trying to get, her to move away from, either she had some young there or what have you. Regardless of the situation, she just kept her cool, and then I could just see in her eye, it was just like this, like looking into a black pearl or something, that just turned into whoa, and I said to myself, well, yeah, okay, I hadn't seen something like that since I was 12 years old. And it was just this random thing where I looked over. Well, this time it was clearly that, I could tell the crows were doing something, and then I could just go to them by following that vibration, by following their way of doing what they're doing through their ancestors' ways, right? And then seeing that we're all combined here. So noticing that some people don't notice, that's okay too, because we're all here moving together, and that's what happens within this ancestral lineage. And then through our time on this planet and everything, that there will be awakenings for the group that will happen, at a certain time, through whether it's through the event or through our personal noticings of, the other beings that are here through that lineage. And yeah, I mean, and it can be, for me, for my experience, was I was woken up in a dream, um, and a light came through the wall, and it just took me by surprise so much that I had to record it. And it was about a kite, because I thought it was a kite that I saw flying through the night, and then it somehow came through my wall. And last week, I was just brought back to that moment, and I'm looking at this owl saying, wow, okay, this is just part of the movements of, when you were 12, you noticed this. When you were, last week, you noticed this movement of the energy from the combinations of the times. And then I came to this, and I was just saying to myself, okay, this is the energy that I'm working here with now. And this owl was literally, speaking to me through just that vibration of, the view from above, of having that, myself looking up and noticing the owl, noticing me, and me being able to notice that way of looking down, sort of how when we leave this place, we're sort of looking down with that appreciation, right? That Waheguru, yeah. And I think that's sort of ancestral too. yeah, with that disconnect from, our belly button. And Waheguru, thank you so much for that opportunity and for
Thank
this
you.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Agya Paul.
Yes, ma'am. This has touched me. This has touched me deeply. I have pictures of my ancestors around the house, and I often look at them and talk to them, of course, in my mind, in case anybody wonders about me. But I talk to them, and I feel very much as I carry them with me, ancestors upon ancestors upon ancestors, and remembering that on a very subtle level, of which I am not consciously aware. A few instances have come into my life where I was not aware I was being led. I was not aware that I was being taken care of until afterwards. And I said, well, I couldn't have, how could I have done, no, I couldn't have done that on my own. No. And then I go into like this tremendous gratitude to my ancestors, because they've made believers out of me, that they are very present, even though I am incapable. My consciousness cannot like directly relate to them or directly communicate with them. And so I'm so glad today is about ancestors, and I think soul works through the ancestors, and I I have been listening to them, or listening, well, in my DNA, right, is listening to them coming through to me. And and it's not words, no words, but just the feeling, the nudges, and then, like I said, the deep gratitude. One quick example was when my mom was in ICU and in critical condition. My partner Judy was in the hospital walking around, and she got off on the wrong floor. There are no coincidences. And she happened to run into my mom's best friend, who was a nurse, and told her. And my mom's best friend had no idea my mom was in the hospital. Judy brought her down. She came to see my mom, and my mom just broke down, in tears. And I mean, she was not really conscious, but she knew that her friend was there. So I thought to myself, this is ancestral. This is guidance from beyond, from deep. I don't know if you'd say a direction from up or down or where, but this is guidance. And it completely, I guess, educated me, or just made me realize that, yeah, our ancestors are here. They are alive in their own way. They're with us. All I need to do is remember call upon them and you know, and ask for guidance and ask soul to, you know, guide them to guide me. Yeah, and I don't feel so alone. You know, sometimes I feel alone, and then I felt like, no, you're not alone. You're anything but alone. And so uh it, uh and these are um yeah. So I think that's the core of what I wanted to share. It's this deep gratitude for from my own learning, recognition, what have you, of the guidance, of the presence of my ancestors, and how I am a continuation of them, and how I in the world will live, you know, with them. I imagine them, you know, on at my back, you know, holding my back and touching my back, and you know, especially when I get fearful, just they're there, and I call upon them, and I ask soul to help me to be open to their guidance.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very, very much thank you, Baba Siri Chand, for our ancestor Baba Siri Chand to give us this topic for today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay. So let's see. So Sahaj. Are you there?
Yes, it's just taken me a second to get it together. um, this is a good day for me to contemplate my ancestors. It's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
How
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. It is wonderful. I think we're going to get a bonus day of good weather out of this. I just woke up, and I was so groggy that I called the old soul answer number, and I um, um, texted and said, "What's the code? I can't remember the code. I remember it now." Japa Saraswati says there's no code. And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a number." And she's like, "No, I promise there isn't." It took me that long to remember we're on Zoom. So, um, so yeah, I'm still a little dopey. But this immediately that you said, you know, we're contemplating ancestors, I immediately saw this image that I saw when I was in Ireland many years ago. And I was in the west of Ireland in Clare, which is where my mother's people are from. I visually waking saw this line of women, one behind the other. And there were probably at least 7 of them. I didn't count, but there were many. And I knew instantly that that was my lineage. And I had some very potent experiences while I was there. And another one that I had really completely forgotten about was as I was walking out, I was there on summer solstice, and we were walking out. We were just walking in the town, and this little donkey cart full of straw or hay or something like that went by. And later, I was walking that same path. We were trying to find a way to get out to the water to do a little solstice ceremony. And I wanted to make a fire, but hadn't really thought about it ahead of time. So I thought, oh, look, there's some straw from where that cart went through earlier. And I'll pick up these pieces of straw and that will make some good tinder. But as I leaned down and picked up the straw, I suddenly felt myself in a different body. It's one of the wildest conscious experiences I've ever had when I wasn't like doing, white tantric. Even still, all I can explain to you is I felt like this heavy skirt. And I was like, wow, what is this? I gotta keep doing this motion so I can keep this experience going till I can figure out what it was. And suddenly the word gleaner popped into my head. And I realized that I was inhabiting the body and the experience of someone gleaning what's left. I don't know if people know this, but sometimes when a field is cleared of whatever is growing there, there's a few things left, like wheat or whatever. There's some strands of that around, and gleaners will go through the field and pick up for their own use whatever is left. But it was also suffice it to say, there's a whole history there within that. And for whatever wild reason, out of the clear blue, I suddenly was given the experience of inhabiting this space, this body, this person, to be able to physically feel this around me. It would take a while for me to unravel that, but I think for the purposes here, it's just the memory of it is that it was so concrete and so very real to me that, like, yes, they're here. They're here. And I may have told this story once before, but when I was in Chicago and things were rough, I had my cousins, my eldest daughter does medical qigong, and she is absolutely remarkable healer. And her grandmother is my beloved aunt, was my mom's best friend. And she had passed many years before, but while I was in this treatment, all of the sudden, I felt her there, and she was so excited that I could perceive her. She was just overjoyed. She was like, we're here, we're here, we're right here. Like, she was just so overjoyed to tell me, like, we're right here, like, we're just on the other side of this veil. And I think of that again this morning, of like how much joy she felt. And like um she also had a message for Beth, her granddaughter, that I was able to convey, which is that my aunt was a remarkable, truly remarkable, super intuitive person and a healer. And she said to me, I mean, it's hard to explain how this works, but anyways, I was meant to convey to Beth that all of that had been handed directly to her in the lineage. That those capacities had been handed directly to her, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
For healing in the family. And I also knew that for what was going on with me, not only was this woman a powerful healer, but it was important that she was in my lineage. And I don't always need a whole explanation. That's not that hard to understand, but it was really clear to me. So I've had these very concrete experiences of the presence of my ancestors as very concrete and very, very, very real. And yet I can manage from day to day to completely forget that and to feel alone. This week I have felt quite ill. I haven't felt like this in quite some time. So I think it was a combination of having really pushed it energy wise beyond what my body is able to deal with right now. And also there's a lot of death anniversaries, two of my brothers and my son Ellery. And so it's a lot of birth and death in the month of May for me. So it's such a beautiful time to contemplate this because it just reminds me it's like birth and death. Yeah, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's not in this moment of my life, it's not a tragedy. Those were tragedies when they happened and they took a long time to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But when I contemplate this ancestral lineage, and especially with my Aunt Therese being like, we're here, like so delighted that there's so much beauty in that and that they really are just right here, just right here, just right here. Like it's funny she said it. It's like she said it like three times and I feel like I have to say it three times. We're here, we're here, we're here. Like that we just have to relax and allow our perception to be what our perception is. That's another thing I'm feeling this morning is like allow yourself your own understanding and allow your own perception to be your own perception. I've had some pretty wild perceptions. I've had very concrete visual and you know uh, auditory and to be able to physically feel all of these things, and that's I think quite is unusual in my life, and that's just not how everybody perceives things. And I have to remember for myself to just allow the perception to be what the perception is, and also that the understanding can simply be there. I don't need the pyrotechnics of somebody showing up in a way that I can hear and see. I mean, it's kind of fun, but and maybe a little arresting, but that is only so that I can have an understanding that it is so, and that I'm meant to then operate on that understanding. But and I'm human, so I apparently have to be reminded regularly that our ancestors are here. They are here. They haven't gone anywhere. They're not at any distance. And that they're here for our guidance if we will only ask them.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Wonderful. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Okay. Honey Munder. Are you there?
Yes, I guess I am.
Oh, good.
um, it has been interesting and evidently something to work with in the future. I started with my dad's family that seems to need tremendous amounts of healing. And once I started with that, it was like, it is like my mother's lineage is for another time. That's not today's job, is what it seems like. And going back into the we have this tree of roots and branches and all that stuff. In this exercise, the branches were just that's where the ancestors were rather than the roots. And they were can't think of quite the right word, but incalculable. They're like infinity. It's just huge. This huge. If one is the tree, above is everything, and then so what I was doing was heart breath and Ho'oponopono, and it's a little tricky because it's Ho'oponopono is for self-healing. I'm sorry, please forgive me. But also, whatever is going on in ancestrally is the great need for I love you for them. And the gratitude. And as people were talking, it started out as I love you and all this, so many people or so many entities, whatever. And then there was a real heaviness and it was a little scary. So I was glad for the mantra that came as I am, as a kind of a protection or just to move through it. But the other thing that happened last night, I received a text from someone I know who had texted me last night. Her son's body was found the day before.
Say it again.
Her son's body was found, like what's today? Wednesday. She wrote Tuesday. On Monday. I know nothing about it. And my intention today was to do a calls for him. But in this context, it's not just our lineage. It's not just our ancestors. His ancestors are part of it also. And so I would like to right now just do 3 calls for Jeffrey Garrison.
Sure. Let's do that now.
Yeah.
That would be three calls.
Oh, Jeff Garrison? Like the fisherman Jeff Garrison?
Jeffrey Garrison He was in Ketchikan for a while. I don't know that.
Okay, I'll talk to you personally later.
Yeah, don't I don't know that much about him. I think he's younger than who you're thinking of, but I don't know.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Here we go. You ready? Everybody knows about a call, which means undying, and it's amazing. Okay, so begin. A Continue. Heart breath. And feel his love. And inhale and exhale. Honey Munder, is that okay? Was there anything else?
Just to include his mother, Lainey, in all this.
Oh, okay. Good. You know, during this time, Baba Siri Chand was saying that it was important for us to heal our ancestors. And here you're going. Okay, and we'll do that after Japa Saraswati. This is very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, Japa Saraswati, what's happening?
Sahaj said the word pyrotechnics, and I almost exploded
Oh, why?
Because my mother has been my mother, whose birthday was yesterday, has always been really afraid of fire my whole life, and we've had wood stoves, and up in Maine also, candles and lanterns and unreliable electricity out in the country. And I always have said to her, Mom, you must have died in a fire in a past life. And then a couple of months ago, somebody contacted us on the internet and said that she had a great great grandfather who died in a pyrotechnic explosion. and and right around that time, I had also read that when a girl is born, she's born with all of the eggs basically that she'll ever get, not just basically, all of the eggs in her ovaries are there when she's born. So those eggs were fully formed inside of her mother. And the generational and the epigenerational, you know, um, karmas and lineage that come through it. And I felt the the golden chain like an umbilical cord, and Baba as, again, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That Baba, like, I've been really meditating on Baba's relationship with Guru Nanak and how just absolutely adoring that he is of his father. And that's so foreign for me. My dad was really, really violent and really violent. And I can, not just I feel, my father's father was so much more violent than that, and it must have come even farther back than that. And I feel sort of my lineage as a yogi is about not doing that violence and um, being healing that ancestral karma for me has been about well, I never really was violent. I mean, I suppose actually to myself, I was violent with myself or not as kind to myself, especially when I was younger. And it was because I was steeped in that. But I did a meditation. This was one of the things that Baba showed me in the meditation. But I did a meditation. I've done it a number of times for um, ancestral healing, and I love it because you start at the meditation and you visualize like your grandparents, your parents with their hands on your shoulders, and then your grandparents with their hands on your parents' shoulders, and then your great grandparents, and all the way back, and you get this image almost like angel wings of all of your ancestors with all all of them with their hands on their back leading up to you. So when I was doing this meditation, I was really stuck on the dentist because I guess I used to be afraid of going to the dentist. Um, and or and so I sense that that's really an ancestral thing for me. And when I did this meditation, I could feel all of my ancestors like having eaten, hundreds of years ago, the bread with sand in it, where the milling didn't, yeah, they had grit in the bread that wore down their teeth, among other things, that would cause my ancestors to have had, dental pain and dental karma. Um, and then um, my parents, they were really, really afraid of the dentist themselves. Like they didn't like to go. And so they never really talked to me about not being afraid of the dentist because they themselves were afraid of the dentist, so like I know that it sounds silly. It's not all about the dentist. There are other bigger issues that you can choose to apply, but for me, healing that dental karma, that now I go to Gentle Dental and they are very, very kind and very gentle, and they don't hurt me. But I could feel when I got that done that it was healing some of this old karma. And I feel like the image of Baba Siri Chand being so adoring to his own father, it doesn't escape me. I don't really talk to my father, and I talk to Baba Siri Chand, who I call Baba, all the time. That have, I can't have, I can't have the kind of warm, loving relationship with my biological father in my lifetime that some people can have, and that I do have that with Baba Siri Chand, with that Baba, with that father, and that it's been that's been part of the healing in my life. It's been a big deal for me. I think that's my message. Thank
Wonderful. God bless you. Okay.
you.
So every one of you stay with Baba Siri Chand and stay with your ancestor, whatever you're talking about from Baba Siri Chand. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Yes. Siri
Okay.
Gian,
Yes.
I just remembered the ancestor healing meditation, and I put a link to it in the chat. I
Oh,
can't believe it. I completely forgot that practice that I did it for so long, and it's such a good one for exactly what you're talking about.
okay. Now, is that what Japa Saraswati was talking about?
No, it's um although the visual's great, but you put your right hand is on your heart, and your left hand is behind your back, with the back of your hand on the back of your heart facing out, and you do the Guru Ram Das meditation for 11 minutes. It's
Oh,
beautiful. I think of it as like my hand on my heart. Like if you were to take your hand away and gesture forward, like that's the 7 generations to come, and your hand behind your heart reflecting out from your heart is for the 7 generations back. That's how I think of it.
okay. Now,
Just
each one of you are going to listen how your own healing is happening. Now, see, Sahaj was talking about that one, and Japa Saraswati was talking about that. Hari Munder was talking about Oponopono. And also, if you want to, it can be for frequency of forgiveness, which means that you are in total neutrality, no EDS, and feel total forgiveness, not in your mind, but feel it in your whole body. Do you all understand that?
yes.
And you all know how you are doing this with your ancestors. And the other is about how your own healing. Do you understand? And shall we do that um, for 3 minutes? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So continue. And it's very important that you stay with heart breath and continue. and feel love from your heart. Just feel it now with your heart breath. And feel your own self for love for you, from you and from you and through you. This is who you really are. And this continues through your own descendants. It could be from your actual descendants or stay with descendants through your own feeling for the community, for this, for the world. And this moves, this love, during this, we talk about the times. This is what happens. It goes from healing to pure love, and move that for all of us. And ancestors, ourselves, and our descendants. And inhale, exhale. And how do you feel? Do you feel that? Anybody?
I feel moisture
Mm-hmm.
on my face,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like it was the I am presence and the mantra. Like for me, it was sort of a breakthrough because I've worked with it many times to work my way through that discomfort of finding that vibration, that tone of going, speaking through that pain and that joy and that love and that breath of fire turning into breath of crier, awakening the parts inside of me that allow me to feel that. And it was like the tears or the coming out of my eyes and rolling down my face and rolling down. It was as if the tears were a needle, and as they went across my being, my skin, it was picking up the vibrations of my skin and the vibrations that I've received. And it was like putting a needle to the record, and the tears were playing all the songs that were coming down, with correlating with the touching of the tears on my face and the running of them down my body. And they're just being a witness from that up above, of that being shown, of the unlimited capabilities and abilities that are within us that we can, experience through this way of being of a human. Yeah. For that vibration, that Waheguru. Yeah. And just coming into that now. And we do have that ability to come back to that voice of that crying like a baby, and that clearing. There's a clearing that happens too, I think, with that. And the stillness of that, because the tears are just coming, right? They're just without the emotion, I think. And then noticing maybe just coming from one side and then the other side, that things will happen naturally within this form. But when we come to a focus of paying attention to that, it really can work out through that, accepting all this energy which does come through somehow. And that truth is my identity, and that noticing that Waheguru, right? That this infinite now, the infinite wow of all the being, that we're here to try to be with that. Yeah. And we will come to that point, from my experience, when we come out of the body, that we do have a chance to return to that circle again. And that Waheguru, thank you so much for this opportunity, and that the sharing. But the emotion is so strong, shared, in this vibration of our ability to work through that, and to come together with the love, and to share that experience of our inherent ability to come together as, this family, that we're sharing these vibrations of love and open communication. Waheguru.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to have each of you, but let's say, I'm so sorry that each one of us, we're just going to be fairly little, but very important for the rest of you. Okay, Sahaj.
I feel just content. And it's funny because my son tried to call through while we were meditating, and it brought up so many things. So like a rush of memories. His birthday's tomorrow. And what wanted healing, and how much loving connection I feel. And all of that was so present in the meditation. And I remembered that when he was younger, and I'd be meditating, when he was like a rascally teenager, I'd just get to meditating, and he'd start calling me. He'd always try to call while I was meditating. And one time I was meditating with friends, and my friend picked up the phone and yelled at him and said, "Leave your mother alone, she's meditating." But I always thought it was because he wanted to be in that space, and eventually he was. So that was kind of lovely.
Wonderful. Thank you, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll get Paul.
Tremendous, loving transformation through fire. As I started with neutrality, and I stayed in that, and then transformed into love, and the like the heart is like my heart felt like a volcano, and it was erupting in love and fire, and it's like new life, and so thank you.
Thank you. Bless you. Honey Munder.
Just as we started it, I had someone come in, and I had to work with her. So these are things to work with in the future, like homework ahead of us, is how I'm.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you, dear. And Japa Saraswati.
So without children, I had the sense of my inner child being the future generations, and it kind of being feeling very luxurious about only really needing to heal myself. And that was really wonderful. And then I kept having the recurring image of the baby Jesus because of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, of it all being just the one. And just sitting with that it was a very playful energy, I want to say, and just being in neutrality and luxuriating in that energy.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sahaj, will you, how do you say, the leading for our song?
Sure.
Okay.
Let me put my feet on the ground. Okay, let's inhale and exhale. Let's take one more good breath. And exhale and inhale to begin. May the
long time sunshine upon you.
all
All
lights
love
around
around you.
and the pure
Pure
light
Light within you,
guide your
guide
way.
your way.
May the long time
Time
sun
sunshine on you,
all lights
all
around you and
and
the
the
pure light within
within you,
guide
guide your
idea
way,
of the way.
guide
guide your
That's your
way,
way.
guide
guide
That's
your
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 way.
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 Inhale. Ah. Bless you all. Bless you, incredible love. Love you all.
Love you all.
Thank you, Siri Gian.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Sad now.